Oh, hot dog, Tucker, have you ever seen anything like that in your life?
There's nothing so special about them. They're just your average college girls.
Nothing average about that.
You know something, Dale? She's just human. Why don't you go over there and talk to her?
Talk to her? What in the world would I say?
I don't know. Tell her that you got a vacation home. That'll probably impress her.
Are you out of your mind, Tucker? These are college girls, okay? They grew up with vacation homes and guys like me fixing their toilets.
You gotta have some faith in yourself, man. Girls can smell fear. Now, come on. You are a good-looking man. More or less. You got a damn good heart.
Yep.
I mean, that's two things right there. Now, go on, get over there. What's the worst that could happen?
You know something? You're right, Tuck. I'm gonna do it.
All right.
I'm gonna do it right now.
All right, hold on. All right, no. Whatever you say, just smile and laugh. It shows confidence.
Smile and laugh. Okay.
Do it.
All right. You guys, going camping? Hey!
All right, everybody, welcome to The Rhythm Section, a Memphis music podcast where we celebrate the soul of Memphis and North Mississippi music, produced by SRP Studios Podcasting, srpstudiosllc.com.
Catch new episodes every Wednesday morning on Apple and Spotify, and don't miss our video releases at 6 p.m. Central on YouTube and Facebook. For more information, you can go to therhythmsectionpod.com.
If you enjoy the show and find it in your hearts to support it, you can easily donate to our tip bucket through Venmo and CashApp. The links are in our episode and social media descriptions, or search the Rhythm Section Pod on either app. Now join us for our new TRS Sunday replay series. Each Sunday, we return your favorite interviews in the order they were originally published.
This week's replay is Danny McGregor from Sweet Lorraine's Guitar. You can catch upcoming replays with David Flexer on September 8th, Jacob Turner from Land Divided, and formerly known as And the Lost 45s on September 15th, and David Kurtz and Billy Meharry on September 22nd, all on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Please take the chance to revisit the highlights and hear from our amazing past guests. Again, every Sunday on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. All right, everyone.
If you guys don't know that it's YouTube, Apple, and Spotify by now, you're never going to learn.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Derrick, and the voice you just heard is the berries to my dingle.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeff Ward.
Wow.
I'm gonna land this throw here. Ugh.
I don't like that one. We need to redo that.
Would you rather be the dingle to my berries?
No. The pop to your tart.
That's actually on the list.
Is it?
You would be the tart to my pop.
Okay.
Or however we word it.
Gotcha.
I switch it up. But all right, everyone, welcome to the show. We have a good one today. We are featuring Robert Allen Parker today. Landslide. Play some Skynyrd. Trouble No More. Trouble No More is a tribute to Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
Landslide, if you don't know, is a tribute to Fleetwood Mac. And, of course, play some Skynyrd. I think you can figure who they're paying tribute to.
Huey Lewis.
Huey Lewis. And next week we have Gene Nunez.
Yes.
The Deb Jam Band.
Yeah.
He was fun.
He was.
Impeccable memory.
Yeah.
He knows every name.
Yeah, we didn't stump him.
Dates. Everything. And he's played with a lot of different people back in the day in the studios and all those things. And please, the Rhythm Section Pod 2022 at gmail.com. Wow. It's just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
No special guest this week.
No.
It's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
We've had some packed shows
and
lately.
it's been fun.
It has been
I
fun.
love having people in for the intro as well.
It is fun.
Adds another layer of...
It sure does. But it just feels good to spend some quality time with you again, Jeff.
Yeah.
Before we have a couple interviews coming up later today.
Yeah. Well, speaking of spending quality time together, we did that last night.
We did.
Let's talk about Mama Darlene.
Yes, Mama D's birthday last night. If you don't know, that's my mom, Darlene Michaud.
She's like 48.
If you know her, you love her.
Yeah.
If you love her, then you know her. I guess. So Mom's birthday last night, and I chauffeured her around. I let her decide where we wanted to go, and she chose Basket Case for a 5 o'clock show at Lafayette's.
Cool.
And then made our trip over to Lucky Dog to see some Area 51.
Yeah.
You know?
I met you guys there.
Yes. Yeah,
was a
you
good
and
time.
Susan.
Yeah.
It was a good time. So Lucky Dog, second time going there.
Yeah.
To see a band. The first time was 3 Minute Ego.
Yeah, 30-minute ego. 3 minutes, 30 minutes.
I made it.
A-dooba-dooba-dooba.
Oh, the first it's this.
You don't remember my name?
You don't. Then you need I need to talk to.
And for good measure,
Yep.
I said to you out loud,
You
and
did.
threw it to the universe that today I was really going to focus on diction
Yeah.
and memorization.
And you've already screwed that up.
Well, the true test will be the band dates.
Yeah. That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
The phenomenon. If you haven't checked out our montage of blooper, go to last week's episode. Right after the band sponsors, we have a little fun with some.
Probably the funniest minute of this show in 2 years.
And I'm compiling more.
Yeah.
I'm compiling more. So I'm going to save them. And then maybe season finale, I'll edit down the best of the best.
Right.
A solid 90-second montage of idiocy.
No, we had a great time at
Yes.
Lucky Dog, your mom's birthday. We saw Area 51. We got to see the Tone Master,
Yeah.
Josh Haynes,
Yep. A little mid-rangey, but
a little bit.
it might be the room. I don't know.
But it was a great show. Those guys are always amazing.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
They played this awesome song from the band Audiograph. That was fun.
Audiograph.
You're not catching.
No, I remember now. It took a second. It's all coming back to me.
Well, Mom, love you. Happy birthday.
Absolutely.
Yes, 48 years old. Yeah. I'm 46. Do the math on that.
Yeah.
And we love you. And if you see my mom out there, because a lot of you know her out there, she's the dancing queen out there.
Yep.
Even though her birthday by the weekend after this show airs, if you see her out there, wish her a happy birthday.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, now, not to be a downer now.
No,
but
but
we're gonna
this is
talk
something
about.
we have to mention.
Yeah, why don't you bring it up?
Well, today, as we record this is the 10th, and I hate using the word anniversary.
Me too. It's conflicting for me.
Of the passing of the one and only Jimi Jamison.
Yep. Shout out to Kenny Francis for kind of
Reminding
throwing
us.
this to us.
Yep.
Yes. So Kenny,
And I've
thank you.
already seen a post on Facebook by Debbie Jamison this morning commemorating this date. A lot of people knew him way back. I mean, I never got to meet him in person. Neither one of us did, but I was all about Survivor Vital Signs. That album was so amazing. And that's probably what first turned me on to Jimmy. And then I learned about Target and Cobra and all those other bands and his solo stuff.
Yeah.
But he is missed.
Yeah.
Hard to believe it's been 10 years. I remember when I learned about this, I learned about it on Facebook that he had passed. And, it's it sucks, but we've got to mention it because he's there is no bigger Memphis icon.
And I don't think there's a name that comes up more
Yeah.
on this podcast than Jimi Jamison.
So to all of his family and all of his friends and the people that knew him closely, our condolences.
Yes.
And he is missed, and boy, we wish he was here to interview.
God bless y'all, and I wish I would have met him.
Yeah,
Imagine if he was on this show.
yeah,
You know,
that'd be awesome.
it would be cool. But so, Kenny, thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that to our attention. And yeah, if you're listening to this on published day, just a few days ago is the 10-year anniversary. And I hate that word too, Jeff. It doesn't make sense, but you know the deal.
I guess commemoration.
Yeah.
Is that better? But anyway.
All right, Jeff, special announcement about your band again.
Yeah.
You know, this just came down.
Yeah.
Hot off the presses.
Last night, Saturday night.
You are playing Neil's this Friday. If you're listening to this on published day, this Friday the 6th.
Correct.
There was a cancellation, we believe.
Yeah.
And who hooked you up with that, Jeff?
Man, Steve Owens. Thank you, brother. You are everywhere all the time helping bands, and you don't get enough credit.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you because this gig wouldn't have happened for us without your help.
Mm-hmm.
He texted me last night and said, "Are your guys available?" And I was on my way to Lucky Dog.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have my calendar in front of me. I said, "You're going to have to give me a little time. I got to reach out to my guys and see if they're all available." And fortunately, everybody was.
Absolutely.
So we're jumping on that, man. That's
for sure
not a gig you want to turn down.
Yes, Mr. Steve, you do amazing work for everybody. If you're a fan of Five for the Kill, he is an integral part in getting them out there.
Yep.
He helps all kinds of bands. Venues go to him. Mm-hmm. Hey, we need help finding someone. So he acts like a booking agent, but he charges nothing.
Yeah.
He's just trying to help.
And he helps a lot.
Yeah, big time. So
we can't wait to get in there and thank you, Neil and Richard, everyone who runs that operation. We can't wait to play that stage. And we played it at a benefit.
Yep. One set, right?
Yeah, one set. Mm-hmm. But we're looking forward to coming in there and doing a full night.
Awesome, man. Good for you, man. I'll be there.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll be there with my possum titties swinging.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
All right. I figured our last handful of intros have been pretty lengthy, so we're going to cut to the chase here. Elevation Memphis is a versatile band that covers various musical genres, including country, R&B, blues, classic soul, pop, and classic rock. The band is currently working on finishing its album. To help raise funds, they have a consignment store that offers everything from home decor to the latest fashion brands. Go to elevationmemphis.com and click the shop tab at the top for all shopping. This is the last time we get to talk about this, Jeff. Right. Elevation Memphis, a Tina Turner tribute experience, will return to Lafayette's music this Saturday. Coming up, if you're listening on Published Day, just a few days away on September 7th, 5 p.m. at Lafayette's. Reserve your seats now. For booking, shopping, and social media, please visit elevationmemphis.com. And I just realized you were supposed to go first.
That's all right. I was going to let it slide. All right, Generation X.
But my reading wasn't too bad.
No, you did awesome. You just took mine.
I just still fucked up.
Generation X, my guys. It's a band that brings alternative music from the 90s and 2000s. So good, they turn STP into Pearl Jam. That's an inside joke. If you were at Lafayette, you know what's going on. Friday, September the 13th at Hadley's. Friday, September the 20th at Sidecar Memphis. Friday, October 4th at Dan McGinnis. And Saturday, October 19th at the Collierville Fall Fest. And don't forget this one that's coming up this Friday, September the 6th at Neil's. Follow Generation X on Facebook at Generation X-Music.
All right, let's get back on track. You had Fever Tree next.
I get to do this?
Yes.
Okay. All right, introducing Fever Tree, the Memphis-based wizards of Southern rock, blues, funk, and rock and roll. Do yourself a favor and go to a show and smell that sweet rock and roll cabbage and say hello to Possum Titty while you're there. You can tell him that Derrick and Jeff sent you. Derrick wrote that. If you're upset, it's all his fault. You can check out albums Social Mediocrity and Lessons Learned on Spotify and all other digital platforms, along with singles Muddy Jesus and Buried Alive. Learn more about Fever Tree at fevertreeband.com. I was trying to invoke my Sean Few voice when I was reading that. Did you catch that?
No. Area 51 will eviscerate you with those alien tones that will make your head spin and skin shine by covering artists such as Starship, Deep Purple, Duran Duran, and Autograph. Hey, Davey Dave Smith, pay attention! Listen, Dave Smith, I've been begging Josh for some of that noggin polish. Can you please connect me? Help me out here. Busy weekend for Area 51.
Yeah.
This Thursday, like, if you're listening again on Publish Day, you have 4 opportunities to see them this coming weekend.
Machines.
Thursday, September 5th at Hometown Headliners in the Hernando Town Square from 7 to 9. Friday, September 6th at Lafayette's. That's the 10 p.m. show. Saturday, September 7th, Southland Casino opening up for Warrant and Nelson.
Nice.
Very cool there. Sunday, September 8th at Hadley's, Sunday Fun Day. And then skip ahead to Saturday, September 21st, Arlington on the Square in, of course, Arlington, Tennessee. Follow Area 51 on Facebook at Area 51 Memphis.
And Sean Few's band, formerly known as You Wanted the Best, You Got the Best. Let Sean, Seth, Jacob, and Julian kiss you all night long. Saturday, September 7th at Neil's. Saturday, September the 14th at Hadley's. Thursday, September 26th, Hometown Headliners, Hernando Town Square. That's a 7 to 9 show. And follow Sean on Facebook at sean.few.7.
Did you say Sean Few? That's what I was supposed to do earlier, but I hit the Scott Hall sound instead.
And
shout out to Jimmy.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know if you guys saw the AI going around of the formerly known as guys in their Speedos. If you did see it, I'm sorry. If you didn't see it, don't go looking for it. It'll scar you for life.
I'm going to tell you what, Sean Few has some competition with Josh Haynes and his AI work now.
Yeah, they're
between the songs, and he was showing us some pictures. I don't know if he's published any yet.
I haven't seen them.
Oh, I hope he does.
They're hilarious.
Because he's mashing people's faces with it's just funny as hell. I give myself a B- on that last ad break.
They did fine.
The reading was okay, but I hit the wrong sound. I read your section.
That's good. That's
not too
all right.
bad, but
I think our listeners have come to understand that this is not a perfect system.
Robert Allen Parker.
Yes, this dude is badass on stage.
Great player, good dude, massive history in this town, but in a different way, which is really cool. And we talk about that with his documentary, Meanwhile in Memphis, The Sound of a Revolution. And later in the interview is when we cover that whole thing. And I'll get back to that in a second. But he plays in several bands, as we mentioned in the intro. Landslide, a Memphis tribute to Fleetwood Mac. I have a chance to see them at Neil's a couple months ago. Excellent. Jeff, you and I are going to make an effort to go back out.
I haven't seen them yet, and I've got to get out and see them.
They are amazing. Play some Skynyrd, tribute to Leonard Skynyrd.
Yep.
We talk about all the players, all the different musicians in these bands too, and how they started, of course. And then Trouble No More, tribute to the Allman Brothers.
Yep.
And then he does spot dates with Elevation Memphis, Tina Turner tribute experience, and that's how I got to play with them.
Yep.
And then also he did a show with the standard cover version of Elevation Memphis. That was a lot of fun. We got to play Southland in the main stage,
right,
which is excellent. And he's a quiet guy. He's super chill, but when it comes down to playing and it's time to solo, he's front and center up the stage, putting on a show.
Yep.
It's good stuff. But
he's not bashful.
No.
He gets right out there and does his thing.
And a great radio voice as I was editing. I was like, I need to put that guy on some voiceover work.
Right.
So again, Meanwhile in Memphis, The Sound of a Revolution. It's a doc about the history of Memphis, but it's the punk avant-garde.
You're the only. Then you need one I need to talk to.
Eclectic is easier for me to say.
There you go.
Dating back to the 70s and 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
It's not about Elvis.
No.
It's not about Sun Studios.
And I still have not
Records.
made time to watch it yet, but I have the link, and I will view this thing.
Yes.
You had to do most of the talking about that during the interview because I hadn't seen it, but I did recognize a lot of the names and the venues and that stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing this thing.
It's on Vimeo, and you will find the link in the description below. Check it out. It's awesome. High Tone is a big feature in there because a lot of these bands, that was the home for them. You know, the stage stop for that genre and that circle. You're gonna hear from Jim Dickinson. Tav Falco is a character. I'm gonna throw up some pictures here. He was this eclectic artist. He's singing playing solo blues on the front of the stage. And what's funny is he asked the band, "Hey, can I sit in?" And they're like, "Yeah, come on up. What do you want to play?" He's like, "No, I'm gonna go solo." So he asks for the band to leave.
Oh, wow.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd love to sit in, but you all have to leave. I just want to do a solo thing. He does this blues number and then starts freaking out, puts his guitar on the chair, as you're going to see here, breaks out a handsaw and proceeds to cut it in half, spin around in circles, and passes out. And now you'll see a picture of him on the floor. He's just a weirdo. The Grifters, that's a big name that was back then. And then what was very interesting was Shangri-La Records and Goner Records. We know them now as record stores, but they were record labels back in the day. And we'll go more into depth on that in the interview, but basically what happened was all of these artists had to go overseas to get any kind of record deal or studios willing to produce them and get anything going. Yeah. But then they would import those albums here.
Yeah.
So Shangri-La and Goner started labels to kind of fix that issue. Right. Royal Studios is a big part of here, also because of its tie-in with the rap community.
Yeah.
So they go deep into the whole hip-hop community here in Memphis.
Yeah.
People like 3 6 Mafia and all them. Mm-hmm. And Alicia Trout and North Mississippi All-Stars. If you're not familiar with them, and they're still around, but they have a history because they're the guitar player and drummer's father is Jim Dickinson. I can't do it justice, Jeff, as far as this talk up here. It's really full of amazing information. You'll see a different side of Memphis if you're not familiar with that scene. I certainly wasn't.
Right.
But then in this interview, you can have Robert talking through these things because he lived it.
Right.
He lived through those things. So, are we missing anything, Jeff?
If anyone knows how to get in touch with Boo Mitchell from Royal Studios, feel free to, put him in touch with us. We'd love to interview him. Mm-hmm. That place is amazing, and what a history.
Yes.
Yes. And I've reached out on Facebook. He doesn't know me from Adam, and probably just like, who is this guy?
Who's this dork?
Yeah. Anyone watching, if you know him or have a contact, let me know.
Yes, that would be amazing. And Jeff, you're amazing. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh,
it was
sweet.
Such a intimate moment we had today.
Yeah.
If it was back to audio only, we would have not had lights on.
Yeah. We could have done some dad jokes without Sean Few, but it just doesn't have the same zing.
No, not at all. Not at all. Next time I'm bringing drummer jokes.
Yeah?
I did bass player jokes.
That's cool.
But next time...
I can take it. Jimmy Falk can take it. Hey, yo.
There we go.
Hey, yo.
Okay, remember to join us for our exclusive TRS Sunday Replay series, where we bring back your favorite interviews on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify every Sunday.
As always, thanks to our band sponsors. We can't do this without you guys. Again, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Find all the channels at therhythmsectionpod.com.
And don't forget our tip bucket. If you can,
it's important.
Find it in your heart to donate to the cause here. You can find us on Venmo and CashApp, the Rhythm Section Pod, or you can click the links in our episode and social media descriptions. And please email us at your... I was fixing to say, and email us at your questions.
Yeah.
You're the only... You need that.
Email us at therhythmsectionpod2022@gmail.com.
Yep.
I really tried, Jeff.
I know. You did great.
I really tried.
You did great.
Because it's kind of embarrassing. I make fun of myself and everything, but I have a feeling at some point people are going to be like, Derrick, get your shit together.
No, it's together. We got this. We got this. Get out and see a band.
Yes, yeah.
How about Gen X at Neil's?
Do it. And how about this interview? Please enjoy it. Robert Allen Parker. All right, everybody. Mr. Robert Parker in the house.
There it is.
Yes. Your Facebook says Robert Allen Parker. Do you like the 3 names?
Yes, because there's another musician named Robert Parker.
Okay.
Famous guy from New Orleans who had a hit called Barefooting.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robert Allen Parker. Yes, sir.
Otherwise known as rap.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, we're going to be talking about some rap because of your documentary we're going to get to. But thanks for being here. It's a pleasure to see you again. Sometimes I meet people for the first time. Not only have I met you now, but I've got a chance to play with you on stage, which is exciting and very awesome. So, but thank you for making the trip to Hernando on a Sunday morning. And he's like,
Hey,
you know,
always up for a drive.
11 o'clock is early for musicians.
Yeah.
Always.
What part of town did you come from?
Kind of East Memphis.
Okay.
I like East Memphis. I like that area.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's completely different kind of vibe than Midtown or just any other part of Memphis. So I like it out there. But today we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff with you. We got a lot of ground to cover. We have bands, Landslide, Play Some Skynyrd, Allman Brothers Tribute Band, which is called Trouble No More. Your new work now with Elevation Memphis Tina Turner Tribute Show. And also them as a just standard cover band. You've done some solo work. And you made this amazing documentary, Meanwhile in Memphis, The Sound of Revolution, that I watched yesterday and have all kinds of notes to talk about.
I'm glad you watched it. I did not get a chance.
Yeah.
You even sent me an email saying if you get a chance, watch
Yeah,
this. I never did.
Sat back in my dad chair,
Yeah.
flipped up the laptop, and really enjoyed it because it gives a completely different look of the Memphis history that is different than, you know, a big theme for this podcast is I would call the stage stop,
Right.
you know, circle of people.
Sure.
And then you have, of course, Stax Records, Sun Records, Elvis. You have all the, you know, Booker T and the MGs.
Right.
You have all that as well. This documentary taps into the old, like, gritty indie
Cool.
blues, punk,
Yes.
Nice.
rap.
I will definitely
Like,
be
there's
watching.
serious history in this town, and just love the documentary, and the amount of work that must have been put into that must have been amazing. So, but first, let's start kind of current here. Now, of Landslide, Play Some Skynyrd, and Trouble No More, which was first?
First was Trouble No More,
Okay.
a Memphis tribute to the Allman Brothers. That band started around 2017,
Okay.
and I was asked to join. I was the last member to join the band. Although some people say I look like Dwayne
Yes.
at times, the role that I was filling was actually Dickie Betts.
Yeah. Playing wise.
Right.
But there was a period where you had the exact Fu Manchu just like him too.
Yeah, if I feel like it, I can always, get that look.
Yeah. So they already had the slide player.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that would be, well, it looks, I see now Seth Kirkendall's in the band.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, he's taken over that role. And before that, it was a guy named Evan Leake,
Okay.
who's been on the Memphis music scene for many years. He actually played with Bobby Whitlock and learned slide from him, and Bobby learned slide from Dwayne because they
There you
played
go.
together in Derrick and the Dominoes.
Yep.
And then he also played in a band called Target with Jimi Jamison.
Yeah, we've
Well, there you
heard
go.
all about Target
Yeah.
on this program.
Yeah. So Derrick Trucks, you didn't call out to see if Derrick Trucks wanted to join the band?
we thought he might be busy.
Well, I want to go on record as saying, first of all, your hair is on point. You must be using Joshine products,
Yes. Yes.
especially being in a band with Davey Smith.
For the audio only people, he's glistening
He's
right now.
listening.
Hey, I'm trying.
So to talk about more members, Ron Heron
Yes.
on vocals. Now he was with Pulse, right?
Right. And he's also a longtime Memphis music veteran going back to the 60s.
Steve Spear on bass.
Another great Memphis veteran bass player. One of his big claims to fame for me was playing with a band called Moloch, which was one of the first blues rock bands, and they came from Memphis.
Okay. And Mike Russell on keys, also Pulse.
Right. Excellent keyboard player. Again, longtime veteran. He's played in bands since the 60s here.
Nice.
And the funny thing is, three of the guys in that band, Mike Russell, Walter, and Evan, they had a band called Post, P-O-S-T, in around 1970. And it was, of course, in tribute to Whipping Post by Allman Brothers.
Gotcha.
So at that time, they were already playing Allman Brothers covers.
Okay, so that was an easier transition into this. And so when you say Walter, that's Walter Polk?
Walter
The drummer?
Polk on drums, right?
Okay. So to go back to Mike Russell, for those of you that have enjoyed Pulse, the tribute to Pink Floyd, when you hear, I mean, all of it, he's sort of the music director, but he's also big with the backup singers, working with them solely, helping direct them for their parts.
Right.
I mean, he's like one of the foundation guys in that band for sure. So 2017, you joined Trouble No More. What was that like for you? You know, how did things get going for you?
Yeah, you know, at first I was reluctant because, you know, I just thought in my head of how much work it would involve with me learning guitar parts. Mm-hmm. And also I thought, well, an audience is not really going to accept it. We're not the Allman Brothers. We're just some guys, you know, saying we're a tribute band. And my first thought was kind of like you think of Las Vegas, like, you know, all those kind of lounge acts. And I know that it's far from that, but that was the first tribute band I got into. So that's the mentality that I kind of had to get past and just think, well, you know, just go for it and see what happens. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we practiced for about a year and then did a show at Neil's. And on that first show, I didn't know what to expect, but it was, you know, a packed house. And I had this really cool nervous energy right before we played. And, you know, I've played for years and years, so, I mean, I don't get stage fright, but it was the type of nervous energy that you really enjoy because it gets your blood boiling, you know, gets you psyched up. And with the Allman Brothers, I was so influenced and inspired by them that I knew that I had to deliver. I knew that we had to deliver as a band. So it kind of pushes you, you know, to go, you know, past your usual mark.
The guitar work for an Allman Brothers tribute band is high level because there's so many harmony parts too. So you have to know this stuff note for note.
Well, it's that, but it's also so much more because if you listen to live versions of Allman Brothers songs, they're all different because they use improvisation.
Yeah.
And that improvisation at times sounds like it's so tight and calculated, but it's really just happening right before your eyes and ears.
Because that group of people can pull it off.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I think any good Allman Brothers tribute band wants to do. What
is next? Play some Skynyrd or Landslide?
The next one is Play Some Skynyrd.
So I see a lot of overlap. You got Steve Spear on bass with that one and Walter Polk on drums.
Right.
But then we got Dave Broccato.
Yes.
Singing. Chris Hinkle on guitar.
Right.
All over the place, that guy.
What's up, Hank?
And then Tim Plunk on keys.
Right.
So let's talk about Play Some Skynyrd. When did you join them?
Well, that was an idea. Myself and Walter Polk, the drummer, came up with this concept of, well, this Allman Brothers thing has gone so well. What if we did a Lynyrd Skynyrd tribute? You know, because their songs are just so well known and popular, not just in Memphis and the South, but everywhere.
Yeah.
So
pop culture.
Yeah. So we thought that would have a wider appeal than the Allman Brothers thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And it would just be fun to play those songs, but also very challenging to put together a band to do that. And I think it took at least a year and a lot of little lineup changes to get to where we were.
Yeah.
But I just got to say, I love Chris Hinkle as a guitarist because me and him both fill so many roles in that Skynyrd band.
Yeah.
Because they normally had 3 guitar players.
Yeah.
And, you know, most of the lead stuff, me and him just trade off, and he really reads my mind.
Yeah.
And I read his, and we just have a good chemistry together.
We had Jeff Adams in here several weeks ago, and this comes up because he had to learn Sweet Home Alabama for, of course, with Jeff Adams, he's doing like a big show, you know, where we really needed to learn this stuff right. And we had a great discussion on it's easy to bastardize that song. Mm-hmm. We all have. When I play Sweet Home Alabama, it's just 3 chords jam with the little bridge hook, you know.
Right.
But if you sit back and really listen to the bass, guitars, the keys, drums, I mean, if you really want to sound like Skynyrd, you have a large task ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
of these little riffs are all over the place. And then now, like you said, you're 2 guitarists trying to fill 3.
Right.
So how much rehearsal was there going before you finally went out?
Yeah, like I said, about a year. And then, the other big part of the Skynyrd thing was you had to have that voice or else there's no point in even trying.
Yeah.
And I had heard Dave Bricado singing with another band in town. And amazingly enough, at the time, they were doing a tribute to the Allman Brothers, a different tribute.
Okay.
So I just heard how good his voice was, and I was like, well, I bet he would sound great doing Skynyrd as well. And he just nails it.
It is a distinctive voice, isn't it?
Oh my God, so distinctive. And it's like these songs are, people love them so much, and they're used to hearing them a certain way, a certain voice, a certain cadence. And Dave just seems to really be able to, capture that and express it like Ronnie Van Zant did.
Yeah. There's still an onslaught of classic rock radio stations out there.
Oh my God.
And you're going to hear Skynyrd
Always.
all day. They might throw in an Allman Brothers like Midnight Rider.
Yeah.
But Skynyrd, the endless hits they had, or we call them hits, but even if it was an album cut, it just became a massive song, sort of like Led Zeppelin. They didn't really have hits.
Yeah.
You're right.
Whole Lot of Love was a hit, but the radio stations just jumped on all of these different songs and made them huge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You nailed it when you said that.
Okay.
And
so-
at the one
go
show
ahead.
in town where it's acceptable to yell out Freebird.
That's right.
Yeah, we actually do play Freebird.
I would love to hear you all do it because it's we done right.
And it has to be the live version from the Fox Theater 1976.
There you go. Very specific.
Oh,
I like it.
I'm glad you said that. So you guys focus on, I'm sure you do the same with Allman Brothers, right? You kind of, hey, let's all learn or pull from this live version.
Yeah, because, live albums back in the day were such a big part of bands. And Allman Brothers had Live at the Fillmore East. So we play those versions. And then Skynyrd had one called One More From the Road. And we do the live versions of those songs.
Oh, that's cool. Now you're catching that vibe, that performance side of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is it easier to hear what's going on because it's less layered? Does that make sense? If you listen to a Skynyrd song produced, it's a lot of layering, right?
Yes.
When you're listening to a live track, is it a little more spacey and easier for you to kind of hear parts?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And with the 3 guitar thing, you can hear what everyone's doing, and you can hear what's very distinctive, what sticks out. And those are the parts that we try to cover, their signature riffs and harmonies and all that.
When it comes to the Allman Brothers and the harmony playing, it must be wild. So, well, good on Seth Kirkendall for the Allman tribute, the Trouble No More, for jumping in on that.
That guy's trying to chase down Josh Haynes.
Yeah, he's getting busy, and he's a great player, and
Yeah,
he deserves the work because he is amazing.
Oh my God, we've only had one rehearsal with Trouble No More with him, and we're already ready to play.
Yeah.
I mean that's how together he is.
And I've never seen him play slide.
Oh,
And-
he captures Dwayne.
Does he have? Did he have a history of playing slide?
No, I don't think. I think this is something new he's picked up.
That's shocker.
So is guitar.
He's been playing forever and is just at his home. Do you know? Not to make this about Seth, but do you know how he got started here?
No.
And I can only say this because he told us the story.
Right.
He was just a longtime player at home, right? Just not doing anything. He goes to Martin Music and he's plucking along in there, just trying guitars and amps. And the guy that's working there is like, "Hey man, you're really good. Do you know who Sean Few is?" He's like, "No." He's like, he's redoing a new band called formerly known as. You're looking for a guitar player. You should reach out to him. And he did. He auditioned, and
That's
here he
it.
is.
Oh wow. It's crazy how that
He
works.
just got noticed, and some guy was like, "Hey man, you shouldn't contact this one person," and then
He's
it just everything opened up to him. So good on you, Seth. We love you, man.
Yeah.
Seth Cooey Kendall. All right, so then that puts Landslide next, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, there's a trend here with this cover band. I mean, the tribute stuff. Early on, when you talked about the Trouble No More, you were like kind of reluctant or really thinking about the tribute angle. And here you are in 3. So Landslide, we got Sarah Spain, Savoya Trainum.
Right, train him.
on and here's what's great: Sarah Spain, vocals, keys, guitar, bass.
Yeah.
Savoya, vocal, keys. Greg Redding, guitar, keys, voice. Dave Smith, bass. Josh Ean, Jeff Birch, drums. You know, like and I've seen you. Finally, got to see you guys play, and you guys rotate on the stage, right? Like,
Yes.
Sarah will go back on the keys. So then, what's her name again? Savoya. And it goes up and this, that, and the other. We've been fortunate to have Sarah in here and Dave.
And Greg.
And Greg, who has not been published yet as you listen to this. Right. One episode wasn't enough. We're waiting to film a second part 2.
God, lots of stories.
You know, so now let's hear it from you. You know, how did you get in this project? I know it's based from School of Rock.
Yes.
Correct? So tell us how this happened for you.
Well, at the time, pretty much all of us were working at School of Rock together, and Greg had the idea for a Fleetwood Mac tribute band. So he just came to work one day and walked into each of our rooms and asked each of us separately, "Hey, would you be interested in playing this Fleetwood Mac tribute?" And I'll be honest, I like Fleetwood Mac. And now I love them, but at the time, I wasn't a huge fan, but I love Greg Redding as a musician so much, and I always thought in my head, if he ever asked me to play in a band or something, I don't care what it is, I'd be honored to play with him because of his rich history and how much respect I have for him, and then when I agreed to do it, and we actually all got together and started playing these songs. It's that age-old thing that you can't explain it. It's just a feeling. It's the magic of music. When you get certain people together and it just happens and you don't question it. It was meant to be.
Fleetwood Mac is one of those bands that I've always been a casual listener, never a huge fan.
Correct.
But when you sit down and you really start to listen, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Hit after hit after hit after hit. And you don't even realize it until you just kind of pay attention.
And another example similar to Leonard Skynyrd.
Yeah.
The FM stations just ran away with their album cuts even and made them hits.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't chart toppers,
right,
but just embedded into the music fabric, right?
Oh,
and then
yes.
so when we go see Landslide, all these bands, but when you go to see Landslide, you will be like Jeff said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember
they did that one, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Holy shit. And then, oh, wow, these guys are killing it, too.
Yeah.
and crushing it. Now, your drummer, Jeff Birch. Jeff, you gotta watch this guy.
Okay, cool.
Oh, what a character.
I've already circled his name on my sheet to get in touch with him.
He is a riot to watch.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know if he could get more into the music.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's very intense. In fact, when I play with a band on stage, I like to kind of jam with each member, go up and, groove. Sure. And when I go up to Jeff every time, he's so into what he's doing. He'll give me just a tiny half-second look. Well,
his eyes are
he's
shut.
Back on it,
His eyes are closed most time.
But I'm so honored just to get that half second, because I know he's so deep into it.
The very first song y'all played the night I was there, it was at Neil's. First song, he hits a crash and the boom arm goes down. So now the crash is like horizontal to the wall, right? Parallel to the wall.
Right.
And then he goes to the ride. Boom! That thing drops down on him.
Oh my God.
And he's there just, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
And he would just side hit the cymbal. He didn't care. He was just all over the place. And of course, song ends and he fixes everything. But I'm like, that poor guy, first song, he loses 2 cymbals. You didn't see that going on behind you, but that poor guy.
No, I had no idea.
Because you didn't hear him miss a beat.
No.
Right?
No, he's a true professional.
So Landslide now obviously is the third one of the tributes, but relatively speaking, it's still very new, right? You guys been together over a year, 2 years?
Almost 2 years now.
Now, who was your original bass player? Remind me of that.
Yeah. The original bass player worked at School of Rock, a younger guy named Dylan. I can't recall his last name at the moment, but he was great, and he moved to Seattle at one point, and Greg knew Dave Smith and gave him a call. And Dave is, as you know, he's played with people that you can't even imagine.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
The list just goes on and on. So he fit right in and
a lot of fun.
and brought us to another level. And also he sings as well in the band.
Yep. So you got him singing. You get Greg singing.
Yep.
Of course, you got Sarah and Savoya.
Oh yeah,
singing.
They really cover all the ground, and you know, having 2 lead female vocalists is such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And well, it translates to the Elevation Band as well.
Yeah, we'll
talk to that.
We're
too.
building to that too. But with Landslide, much like Trouble No More and Play Some Skynyrd, it's guitarists have to really work together because of all the harmony in the parts.
Yes.
But Fleetwood Mac's a big vocal band.
Oh my God, yes.
So now you really need to
putting it mildly.
like the Eagles. Like if you're going to do an Eagles tribute, you need 5 singers to make that.
Everybody
Work.
better be singing.
You're right. So, which is why I rarely get work because you don't want me here. You don't want me singing, Robert. I do not sing. But check all these bands out. You guys play over the 3 bands. You're doing Neil's. You're doing Lafayette's.
Yeah. Yes.
The nice venues.
I have to get off my butt and go check them out because the only band that I've seen him play with is the Tina Tribute.
Yeah, so let's bridge to that.
Yeah, I got to get out and see these others. But that was my introduction to you was at Lafayette's when you played with the Tina Turner Tribute.
Right.
And man, I was blown away. I was like, why have I not seen this guy before? I went up to Derrick after the show and said, dude, he crushed it. He is all over the stage, plays his ass off. It was great, man. It was a lot of fun to watch you.
So I was on stage with you and rehearsed, I think, twice with you leading up to that show. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to blow smoke, but you came fucking prepared and you were really cool. And I just really enjoyed working with you. But then on stage, you're standing kind of next to me. We're doing our thing. And then it's time for a solo. And then I saw the performer.
Right.
I didn't see it coming.
Right.
And out of nowhere, you jumped to the edge of the stage right up there. You got your flying V.
It's awesome.
Right.
Going straight up. And you put on a show. And I got tons of great feedback from my friends and family about you. So it was great. But okay, so the Elevation Memphis Tina Turner Tribute experience, I wanted to get the name right, is relatively new in a big way. It kind of launched last fall, 2023, and now it's been doing some stuff this year too. And the guitar position has always been sort of like looked at as a feature. We don't have a core guitar player yet. Then your name was put in the hat, and then we called you, and we did a Lafayette's thing with you. And I would love to hear, and I know I briefly asked this, in rehearsal about learning this stuff and how cool it is to learn something new, but what was it like for you? I know what it was like for me to sit down and learn 30 Tina Turner shows or songs and how blown away I was. Now, here's someone that didn't have that massive radio play. That she had her hits, don't get me wrong.
She did have
when you listen to a classic radio station though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She wasn't. So there's so many songs.
You're not going to hear her on rotation with Led Zeppelin and the Allman Brothers. It's just not going to.
Yeah, Simply the Best,
right.
Or a Proud Mary if you're listening to an older station.
Right.
But so many of the songs were like never heard before. But wow, listen to that bass line. Mm-hmm. What is your perspective as a guitar player coming into that song list that we had?
Well, I've always been into Tina Turner's songbook because going back to the Ike and Tina Turner days. That's the era of music that most inspires me, the 60s and 70s. So I was real familiar with that stuff. And then, as it went into the 80s, that was something where, I was a casual fan of that stuff, but to learn it was very interesting because, see, a lot of those guitar lines are based off keyboard lines or piano lines.
Okay.
So it was some really interesting chords and riffs and melodies. So I learned something new as a guitarist learning those songs.
Same here as a bass player. It opened the world to me. I'm like, I'm not playing country. So that's good. Immediate win there. And then her stuff is a great combination of everything's pushing and a little aggressive. That's Tina Turner. She's up there owning a crowd. Her songs have a punch to it, but also a little funkiness as well. So it's great bass lines for sure.
Oh my God, yeah.
All right. Well, we covered the tribute world for you.
Well, and I will say this. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm working on another tribute act.
What? You got to say who it is.
For the last year and a half.
All right.
But I'm not going to say the name just because, it's a surprise. It would ruin the surprise.
Understand.
Quick tease. But when these mics are off, sir, I need to know what this is all about.
Can you tell us the other players involved or not know on that as well?
I want to keep it all under wraps.
Got it. We get it.
Can you tell us the exact artist who come? Just kidding. Well, awesome. Now I want to hit this documentary, but now let's talk about Robert Parker.
Right.
Robert Allen Parker. That is. Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
Born and raised.
Cool. Yes.
Yep. And I could see why the documentary was a big deal for you because clearly someone that's from Memphis knew Memphis. Because you're gonna learn a whole different side of Memphis, at least new to me. Yeah. But when did you start playing? What's the history of you becoming a musician?
Yeah, so I grew up and got into music at an early age, about 5, and then I just kept begging my parents for a guitar. Mm-hmm. And the first instrument they gave me were, toy drums. So I immediately destroyed those. And then they got me like a toy guitar. I destroyed that. And then eventually when I got old enough, I guess, to an age where you have just a little discipline, I think I was about 10, they finally got me a nylon string acoustic guitar and gave me lessons at Yarbrough's Music.
Okay. Yep.
And, I'd grown up into the whole idea of rock music through the band Kiss because
we've never heard that before.
Because when you're a little kid, you're watching cartoons and stuff, and Kiss comes out and they're like these superheroes with guitars. Yeah. And, that just appealed to me. And then as I got older, I learned that, they're real musicians, rock stars, all that. And, when I got into learning guitar, my guitar teacher was a blues player. So although at the time I had no interest in blues music, he kind of sparked my mind with blues and introduced me to John Lee Hooker, Muddy Waters, and then the people like Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan who play so much blues.
Yeah.
And, and that was the path that I took as a guitarist. And, of course, being in Memphis, man, we're in, these are the roots of rock and roll. And then we have the blues and we have soul and the musicianship is always so high. So it was just one of those situations where here's a guy from Memphis, grew up in Memphis and was inspired by Memphis. Most of the time you hear about people moving here.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the stories told in here is that,
Yeah, right.
I have to do a squirrel moment. I need to, and this is going to be out of timeline, but I forgot to mention the players in Elevation, a Tina Turner tribute experience.
Right.
You might get in trouble.
Yes, I will. And maybe that's why I forgot, because they're all my friends.
Yeah.
Melanie Pierce and LaShawn Robinson up there on the vocals doing the Tina thing. Got Darren Lee on keys and Kyla Williams on drums, who is a beast, just a badass. And then Robert is on there. We get sometimes Josh Haynes. And there's times where it's Troy Isom. So revolving door there as well. But sorry, guys. I wanted to make sure I got your names. Okay. Memphis, born and raised, growing up on the blues, tackling that style of music. When do you start now meeting other people and playing and jamming and having those first early bands? When was that?
Yeah, it took a very long time. For some reason, I just couldn't meet the right like-minded people that were serious about music.
Right.
And of course I was young too, so but for years and years it was just me and my best friend playing guitar, playing like beauty pageants and Mid-South Fair stuff and just
beauty pageants.
Our parents would just get us anywhere where we could play, literally.
That's what you do. Yeah.
Any place. So we would play pool parties at the house. We would play anywhere where there's people. And then finally, when I got into high school, I started meeting some more serious musicians. And we started a group called Nuclear Sunset.
That's a cool name. I like it.
Which was like, it was like a progressive metal, heavy stuff.
There we go.
But with a lot of melody, really guitar stuff, and then I'd always had an interest in blues and classic rock, so I ended up meeting this other band at the time, and they're called Salmon Faith. And they were doing kind of like, I would compare them to like Blind Melon or the Black Crowes, kind of like a retro rock style. So it was just perfect timing because that's what I was getting more interested in. And they were a 4-piece, and they had thought about adding another guitar to the mix. And they asked me to join, and then it was perfect because they were, a serious band at the time. And man, it was so much fun, just that time when you finally play a real venue to a real audience. You've got drinks, you've got, weed, you've got you got beautiful girls. I mean, it's all that hope you have. Like, we're gonna make it. We're gonna get signed.
That's when you're hooked.
Yes,
that is when you're hooked.
Yeah. Notice he didn't say money.
No.
No, we weren't thinking about that.
So when you say Black Crowes and the other band, what was
Blind Melon?
Blind Melon. So we're talking 90s.
Yes, this was mid 90s.
Yep.
And we played around the Highland Strip in Memphis, 616, the New Daisy Theater. And we were having some success, but we thought, well, there's no record labels in Memphis, or there's not much business infrastructure here. So we thought, well, let's move somewhere.
Okay.
And a couple of the band members did a cross-country drive. And then they came back and they said, well, we've all decided that we're going to move to Dallas, Texas. And I said, why Dallas? I don't think of the music industry when I think of Dallas.
Right.
Maybe Austin.
Yes, Austin.
But
I don't know
not
about
Dallas.
the 90s, but certainly now,
Yeah.
Austin, yes. Of course, you got Nashville.
But as it turned out, the drummer had a sister who lived there, and she had some good connections on their music scene.
Gotcha.
And also, the living conditions were better and everything. So we all said, yeah, let's try it. Let's move there. We can always drive to Austin and Fort Worth and all that. So yeah, we moved from Memphis to Dallas, and we were out there for about 2 or 3 years. And, it was the story you always hear, band trying to make it, and we were barely able to pay our rent, much less get signed to a record label or on a tour or whatever. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we definitely put our hearts and souls into it, but it was just, there was too many distractions with life.
Did you enjoy Dallas as a city? Did you like it?
No, no. They, compared to Memphis or anywhere else, I think there's a lot of old money in Dallas, so it's all about class.
Okay, yeah.
And so the jobs I would have to work to pay the rent were not playing guitar in Salmon Faith. It was working at Chevron or the movie theater, stuff like that, and you were looked down upon. Girls just were like, what? Yeah. Where does he work?
You don't have to open a gate into your housing development?
Right.
What is that? You live in an apartment? Yeah, that's too bad. That is too bad, but I bet Austin probably would have been a cooler place to live.
Yes.
Music-wise, who knows? I don't know what Austin was like in the 90s, but it seems like a really swanky kind of city. At least nowadays.
And the South by Southwest conference alone would be great to be a part of.
Yeah, and it's looked at. A lot of podcasters that I follow, like Joe Rogan, the big names, are all getting out of LA.
Yeah,
they're like, fuck LA. Austin is becoming for a lot of comedians. And then Joe Rogan started a club called the Mothership. So all of the comedians are starting to navigate to Austin. Austin's kind of like this new spot, So anyways, enough of Austin. So what happens when you move back? What you finally just said, I'm done. Sayonara, I'm heading home. Or did the band come back together, or did you just say, I'm out yourself?
No, it was, just we weren't going anywhere at the time for a lot of various reasons. And I just decided, I need to move back because I'm barely making a living here.
Yeah.
But while I was there, I went into a thrift store one day and found an Al Green vinyl record called Al Green Gets Next to You. And of course, he's the soul funk singer from Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really getting into a lot of funk music at that time. And I didn't realize that Memphis had such a rich history in that sound. So when I was playing that record in Dallas, I was like, this was recorded by these guys in Memphis in the early 70s. And this sound is so damn funky and soulful and passionate. You know, what am I doing here? You know? So it's like, I got to get back to Memphis. And when I went back to Memphis, I went to the library and started checking out all these CDs and albums that you could rent, you know, and recording them, all this old Memphis music, because I wanted to educate myself.
Yeah, because that Stax world.
Oh my God, Stax,
the Booker T, the Sam and Dave, that whole rhythm and blues, not R&B, rhythm and blues,
R&B,
all had funkiness, just funkiness throughout all of it.
Oh, I mean, you can feel it. You know, it's just such a dirty sound.
Nitty gritty, nitty gritty. Well, again, not quite ready to go to the documentary, but when you watch it, you're gonna see dirty.
Oh yeah,
There was a dirty side to this city, man.
right.
For sure. Okay, well then, now we're talking later '90s when you come back from Dallas.
Yes.
So how did you get back on your feet? What did you start doing music wise?
Yeah, so when I got back, like I said, I was interested in funk music and the old Memphis sound. So I started trying to join a band that was playing that style. And eventually I found this guy through the Memphis Flyer ads, and we had a band called Surefire. And it was like a funk soul cover band. I was the only white guy. And I loved that because I had this secret fantasy. I was so much into wah-wah guitar and, funk guitar that I was actually a black man with an afro.
You close your eyes and that's what you would envision?
Yeah. So, I mean, seriously, it's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything bad about white or black or anything. It's just musically, that's the fantasy I had in my head. And I was able to do that with this band.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
I'm never going to look at you the same way again.
But I mean, I've experienced this with Elevation Memphis. Being in a prominently black band is fun. It's just, as the little white guy on bass, I'm like, I don't know why, especially on bass. You're hiring a white guy on bass.
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah. So with that band, we didn't do much, but the claim to fame that we did do is we played a gig backing up Rufus Thomas. Oh. The famous soul singer from Stax. And that was such a eye-opening experience for me, just this kid that grew up playing heavy metal guitar, and now I'm getting to play with these Memphis legends, by chance, and, of course, stuff like that just gets you more and more interested in the history. And then after that, I ended up getting a job at a store on Beale Street called Memphis Music, and playing on Beale Street as well with another funk soul cover band called the Memphis Untouchables. I was again the only white guy. Proudly.
When you played with these black artists, did you tell them your vision when you would play? Did you tell them that you saw yourself black with an afro?
I actually did. And they just laughed about it. They're like, oh man, you don't even have to have a fantasy. I mean, you just sound good the way you are.
Yeah. And when it comes to music, there is no color.
Oh no.
Everyone's on the same page. You're a musician. If you do, and you're bringing it genuinely, everyone is into it. It's as simple as that. So, Jeff, did you have a question or anything? I feel like I'm hogging the mic.
No, hog it. You're doing great, bro.
Well, also,
I'm learning a ton over here. I'm just. This is one of those episodes where I'm listening instead of participating.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to add one more tidbit about Beale Street.
Sure.
I'm proud to say that I've been able to play with a guy named Earl the Pearl Banks.
Okay.
He's one of the original Beale Street blues veterans from the days of B.B. King. He's in his 80s now.
Okay.
But playing with him really has turned me into the guitarist I am, I think.
Cool.
Because with him, you can't use any effects. And I wasn't used to that at the time.
That's a request by him.
Yes. No effects. Not even slide.
So just clean tone. That's it.
Yes.
Even if what if you're firing your tubes up and getting a little growl? Is that okay?
Well, I don't know. You can maybe sneak it by him.
But he just wanted clean solos.
Yeah, so when you play clean as a guitarist, it forces you to play differently. You have to express yourself differently. And I think that's really the essence of the instrument.
Yeah. It's more delicate too, right? You can hide behind gain. You can, right?
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
I remember when I first started playing with in-ears, the Wild Horse Saloon in Nashville, I was like, Derrick, you suck.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you thought you were locking in,
Right.
but you get exposed. You can't hide in those in-ears. Different than what you're dealing with the guitar player, but in any situation where you're kind of stripped down, it will expose some things, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But it made you a better player, right?
Yes.
Now, is Earl, is he a vocalist or does he play instrument as well?
Yeah, he's a vocalist and a guitar player.
Okay, cool.
I'm interested to learn more about Beale. But what was Beale like back when you were playing there in the 90s? Was it busier? Were there more venues to play? Was it more of like a situation where you could be a Beale Street guy and get multiple shifts a week? What was Beale Street like back then?
Yeah, I would say compared to now, it does seem like it was a bit easier in the late 90s.
Okay.
They had more street festivals throughout the year and just more people playing on the street. Now it's like, they have all these laws where you can't just play on the street and set up. You have to be a part of the venue or play on their patio. So there are certain restrictions these days. And then a lot of times they'll close the street off on weekend nights to try to ward off, the overcrowding or whatever, or the criminal element.
Mm-hmm.
But, for me, the street has always been special because you can feel a vibe when you're on there, whether it's day or night. And yeah, it is a lot of the past history, the days of B.B. King and when Elvis would go down there. But there's, Jim Dickinson used to say that if you walk down the street, you can still feel that aura, that spirit. Mm-hmm. It's never left there, no matter how they've tried to commercialize it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of Memphis, like forever. Just that spiritual presence of music and just it's inspired so many people all over the world. Mm-hmm. What was made and played there, and people still come. For this past Elvis week, I was working downtown and there were people from all corners of the world. I mean, New Zealand, Italy, Australia, you name it, Japan.
I used to drive Uber and Lyft years ago, back when I was poor like now. Wait a minute. And,
some things never change.
I know. And so I got to meet a lot of people coming to this city for Elvis.
Yeah.
From all over the world. I'd pick someone up from Australia. I'm taking them to Graceland.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. All over the world they come here.
I remember going to Beale Street back in the 90s, and maybe it's just my memory and the way I perceive things, but it seems to me like it was busier back then. Just more people, more music. I don't know.
You're talking 90s?
Yeah. And I haven't been down there now in a few years.
I think more people supported live music back then.
Yeah.
Again, we will talk about this for your documentary, something I noticed. But the 90s were, right? People loved original music with all the bands we've had in here.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. Might have been safer.
Yeah, I think that may have something to do with it.
Memphis has a bad rap.
Yeah.
Don't Google most dangerous city in the country. We're
consistently in the top 3.
Yeah, we're either bronze, silver, or gold. Right.
Yeah.
So, but it's unfortunate because, that's a part of it. But there's so much better. Mm-hmm. There's so much great about this city and Beale Street. There is a vibe to it.
Oh yeah,
really is. Broadway in Nashville, that's gone.
Yeah,
they lost it.
Yeah,
completely.
Oh yeah,
it's a machine now. You can make a living down there for real now if you get in the right circles. But Beale still has its just classic feel, and it's not someplace that you could try to make a living in. Right, pick up a gig here and there. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. There are people now that have played there for years and make somewhat of a living, but it's not anything like you would imagine. I mean, they're probably barely getting by.
Yeah, but just hanging out, having a good time, playing for those tips.
Exactly.
Right? And it's a bummer to see the Hard Rock Cafe go away. Like,
oh yeah,
something's wrong if Downtown Memphis, Beale Street loses the Hard Rock. Do you know what happened there by any chance?
Well, I've seen so many businesses open and close on Beale Street, even in the days when there were more people, you know. And I think it's just mismanagement.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know how to keep the business going.
Right.
And or they're stealing money or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And that building before it was the Hard Rock was Elvis Presley's.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
That was cool.
What was it like when that was open?
It was just it was a bar, you know, and they had live music. I remember seeing there was a band here that was
the Dempseys.
The Dempseys played the upright bass.
Man,
Man, they were so awesome. That dude would climb all over that upright bass as he was playing it. It was a show. It was really something to see and hear.
Very cool. Yeah. Was it active? Was it patronized?
Yeah,
Was there a lot of people going to it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was just called Elvis.
Presley's.
Elvis is Memphis. I think.
Yeah, Elvis Presley's Memphis.
Yeah,
Elvis. Yeah, because it'd be hard to say Elvis's Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it was great.
At least for me.
You're the only. Then you need one that I need to talk to.
There it is.
All right, you are a solo recording artist as well, sir.
Yes.
Let's learn more about that.
Yeah. So you know, I've been in a lot of bands and we've recorded stuff. And at one point, I just thought, I'm a songwriter. I'm just going to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. No offense to anyone, but this way I can call all the shots. Yes. And plus, there's no pressure because when I say I'm a recording artist, that doesn't mean I play shows locally or tour as a solo artist. Mm-hmm. This is just something I do for expression.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, with the internet revolution and everything, I can get my music heard by many people. But yeah, I started doing that around 2004. And at first I was singing myself. And after I heard the results from the studio, I was like, oh man, I can't sing. I don't need to be doing this. Well, at the time, it was my first crack at singing.
Right.
So I had much more to learn in that department. So the next time I brought in other singers. And, you know, that was really the way to go because, you know, then the music is more balanced. You know, you have the feeling going on in all departments, the guitar playing, the rhythm section, the vocals, everybody's up on that level. And, you know, then as I kept writing songs, I did develop my own voice eventually. And I'm not a soul singer, a blues singer, or anything like that, but I can pull off what I call like rock and roll singing, kind of like Lou Reed or Neil Young. And my wife Cammie always says I sound like Elvis Costello. So
there you go.
You know, but yeah, so I did record a couple solo albums with myself as a lead vocalist, and that was really cool.
And you can find this stuff on Bandcamp?
Yes, Bandcamp and online.
What are the names of these albums? Well,
the first couple albums that I cut where I was the lead vocalist, it would be called Ravens and Black Heart.
Okay.
But I would like to say that style is totally different from what people would think of me as playing because it was more influenced by, I would say, garage rock, like 60s garage rock, and then like, you know, kind of even early punk influences, you know, indie stuff. So, I mean, it's still cool. I stand by it, but
give me an example of early punk because I
are you familiar with the Stooges?
No.
With Iggy Pop?
Oh, yeah. I know who that is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, okay.
Yeah, that's a good
gotcha.
example. Yeah.
I remember Black Flag. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different styles of it, you know. I like it when it was still kind of like the Ramones are an example.
Yeah, okay.
That's another example.
Like the CBGB.
Right, that
crew.
era. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal.
Well, because of time here,
yeah,
we got to talk about this documentary.
And I want to talk about it. I've heard nothing but this thing since I got here this morning. I have not had a chance to watch it like Derrick has, so I am excited to hear about it because this week I will be watching.
It's awesome. You're going to learn about this sort of like underbelly in a way, and that kind of has a negative connotation saying underbelly. But let's talk about it.
There is an underground type of
underground.
thing.
There we go. Meanwhile, in Memphis, The Sound of Revolution. It's by Broken String Productions. I have it as more gritty indie and underground bands and rap artists. It covers, a lot of great classic film footage. of live performances, and I noticed one of the biggest themes was high tone.
Yes.
Was a lot of this stuff was filmed at high tone.
Okay.
It spans from the 70s through the early 2000s. But there's a good chance, at least for me, I recognized nobody. But it's educational, and the people that are from here and you did grow up here will probably recognize these names and learn a lot about them. It was so well done. It was 90 minutes, so it's full of information. A lot of great interviews that punch in. Jim Dickinson is all throughout it, and it's in tribute to him, correct?
Right.
So you're going to hear features like Sid Selvage, Mudboy and the Neutrons, Tav Falco's Panther Burns. That dude is a character.
Yes.
The Clits.
Okay.
KLITZ.
Right.
I should
we gotta
add.
spell it right.
The Antenna Club, Shangri-La Records. You can
Yes.
just think of it as a little record store now, but they were a record label
Exactly.
back in the day. The
And
Grifters.
I've heard of that.
The Oblivions. Goner Records was another one.
Yes.
There was an actual label. Jacko, The Raining Sound. And then you break into the rap community and scene. Gangsta Black, Royal Studios comes up. DJ Spanish Fly, DJ Zerk. People I never heard of. I had heard of 3-6 Mafia.
Yep, me too.
But so they're kind of represented in there. Al Capone.
Heard of that.
Sons of Mud Boys then going into North Mississippi All-Stars. That's cool.
Right.
And I didn't realize the guitar player and drummer from North Mississippi All-Stars are the sons of Jim Dickinson.
Yes.
Very cool. And then here's another funny name. This gentleman's name is Jay Retard. Reatard.
Hey.
Just feel like I need to spell a couple of these.
Right. Yeah.
And then Alicia Trout.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed her too. Jeff, you got to check it out.
No, I will.
It's going to be awesome. All right. How did this start with you? Is it the genesis of it start with you and your idea and moving forward? Because there's a long list of people that are part of the creation of this. So
Right.
did you spearhead this?
Yeah, what it was is that, I was into filming live music, but I'm not like a professional videographer or anything, but I would just set up a camera on a tripod at shows that I do. And at one show I was playing with a band called Sunday Schools, and a member of that band was the nephew of a lady named Nan Hackman. And Nan Hackman was a professional videographer, and she was filming, her nephew's band set. And she came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm Nan. If you'd like, we could both film the bands tonight, and then I'll take your footage and mix it together."
Nice.
Cool.
So I was like, well, cool. So that started our friendship. And then after I started seeing her editing skills, I always had an idea in my head. Wouldn't it be cool to do a modern Memphis music documentary? Because I had just watched one on Little Rock, Arkansas, believe it or not. And you never really think about the music there, but they made a documentary about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, no one's really covered, modern Memphis. All you hear about is blues, Elvis,
Nope.
Stacks, the same stuff over and over. And I'm like, there's been so many great artists and music that's come out of here. I mean, it hasn't all been million sellers, but it's still been influential to the world of music. And so that got my mind going. And then I talked to Nan about it. And of course, at the time, we were thinking we'll do about 3 artists.
Yeah.
And just, focus it on in that way. And then as I interviewed people, they would say, "Oh, you ought to interview this other person too." And it got to where I was interviewing people that I didn't even know that were just Memphis musicians, somehow connected to the scene. And then it just spiraled, and it became something where we're like, well, we're just going to go as far as we can with this.
Yeah. And when you get to the end and you see the credits scrolling, it's a laundry list of people that were a part of it but helped make it. This was a team effort. And it was eye-opening. Yeah. I didn't realize there was a punk scene.
At the Antenna Club, I'm assuming. Wasn't that?
Yes.
I never went, but I had friends that went to the Antenna Club all the time.
Right.
And I heard that it was a big punk scene there.
Yeah. High Tone.
Yeah.
High Tone.
Yes.
Now, that footage of High Tone, that's not the location it's at now, right?
Right.
Where was it Was it because it used to be what Growlers is now, correct?
Right. That's the location where we filmed.
Okay.
Well, I didn't. Well, I filmed some of it, but I have to give credit to an organization called Live from Memphis, spearheaded by Chris Reyes. He's a guy that just, took his camera around. He had professional equipment and captured a lot of Memphis music at that time in high definition. Mm-hmm. And when you say it was a team effort, that's what it involved, us asking people to use their footage, use their music, artwork, you name it.
It seemed like everyone was generous with allowing you to use their music.
Very much.
It was great. And it was just eye-opening. And going back to crowds, Jeff, when we were talking about the 90s, maybe more people represented, the high tone was wall-to-wall back then. Listening to these very avant-garde, we'll say artistic punk bands.
Yeah.
Very eclectic music.
Very.
Packed.
Yeah.
And that was inspiring to see. I'm like, man, like there was a time, no cell phones back then. You know what I'm saying? It was just a time where people really went out. And I'm not saying they don't now, but it's a different scene.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
No question. It's a different scene than it was we've talked about the mid to late 80s here. It just, the scene has changed a lot.
And that's what now, because of this show and learning so much about that stage stop sphere of musicians that we've had in here and others outside of it, but it's been a big theme here. At the same time, there was this whole other sphere, whole other circle that I just didn't really knew existed. So thanks to this documentary, it's well done, people. You got to check it out. And then the rap scene, huge, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. People don't realize, how our rap here influenced the entire world of music. And the 3-6 Mafia was a big success story. But there were artists before 3-6 Mafia featured in my documentary that really were the first rappers that really combined beats with the funky soul sound, out of Memphis. And it just creates this new sound and a new dance. I mean, there were physical dances made, and a new language.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a new culture, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My daughter's half brother, he's now 18, got into hip hop when he was young, Before I know it, he's telling me about all of these Memphis rappers and fell into the Memphis rap scene. I think not as far back as what you cover in the doc.
Right.
But to this day, and it's hard to see. And of course, I'm not hanging out in the rap circles.
Yeah.
But they're out there and getting huge views on YouTube. It's still a scene here, but you just don't see it.
Right.
When I sit back, I don't think as myself as a black guy with a afro, Robert, No, I'm just kidding. So check it out. It's Meanwhile in Memphis, The Sound of Revolution. I have the link in the description of the Vimeo that you sent me.
Excellent.
Sit back and enjoy. So well done. A lot of funny stories, but Jim Dickinson is throughout it and there's other producers that pop up. I couldn't cover all the names.
Oh, right. Yeah.
As I'm watching, I'm like, that sounds like a notable name. Boom. I typed it out, but it just goes into depth on the writing of these different artists. And I do got to talk about Tav Falco. That guy was a maniac. So there's footage of him on stage. I'm assuming it was high tone. I think it was high tone. And already an eclectic artist. And then out of nowhere, in the middle of a song, takes his guitar off, puts it face down on these two chairs. You kind of see him disappear to the back of the stage. He comes back with a table saw or like a hand saw and just starts sawing his guitar in half and then passes out. Right?
Yeah.
And what was his deal?
Well, that was actually at the Orpheum Theater, believe it or not.
Okay.
Well, his deal was that he was this guy that moved here from Arkansas, and at first he was into art performances. He was in dance troupes and stuff, and then he started to want to be a musician, and he was friends with Mudboy and the Neutrons.
Yep.
So he asked this band, could I open up for you guys at one of your shows? And I'm just going to, do my solo guitar. and he decided to just pull this crazy stunt, where he saws his guitar and he gets the attention of the audience and everybody, and
he got the attention.
yeah, I mean it goes down as in history in Memphis. It's kind of like I would almost say that's the creation of the art music scene in Memphis. In other words, I'm not putting down anyone, but it's people that aren't necessarily, good technical musicians. They're people that can, barely play, but they have a great vision.
Yeah.
And a way to perform and come across with something. Yeah.
And that was the other thing I learned from this. And he's a great example of having to go overseas to actually, like, people in Europe would relate. And a lot of these, avant-garde, eclectic bands would go overseas. And then they would make albums out there. And then the French record label or whatever would then import the albums to Memphis.
Yeah.
Right? So Goner Records and Shangri-La tried to fix that. So why do we have our artists have to go to Europe to film and record, and then they get imported to us to sell? So they started record labels.
Right.
And then they supported it locally, right?
Yes.
Just touch on those record labels for us.
Yeah, it was very successful because, indie labels were really at their prime in the early 90s. And Shangri-La Records with Sherman Wilmot had a success story with a group called the Grifters. Mm-hmm. They were just this real big, influential indie rock band. And they ended up touring extensively all over the U.S. and even overseas. And they even got signed to Sub Pop Records eventually. So they were a really big deal. And that inspired, I think Goner Records as well. That came about a little later. And that was the brainchild of a band called the Oblivions, who decided to start a record label around their band. And, they just exploded because it was just the right time. There were all these artists that were not getting the right exposure, really strange music that people love. There's an audience for everybody, right? And, Goner Records came out and started putting out these records, and, their first idea was, are we even going to sell these? They thought it was a risk at first, and it was, but, they found an audience, and their audience is literally an international audience. People order records from them by mail. They come from all around the world to their annual Memphis Goner Fest.
This is to
You're the only. You need one I need to talk to.
I mean, this is presently. This is happening.
Yes, Goner Records is still going. Shangri-La Records has really. They still do a few things, but they're not a running label like they were in the 90s. Yeah,
but still very sought after.
Yes,
record stores.
Right.
Oh, and the two record stores are Memphis landmarks to this day that people, local and otherwise really love.
Thank you for doing this, man. Jeff, did you have anything you wanted to...
There's just so much information, and I can't wait to see the documentary. I'm ready to watch the thing.
Yeah, it's just fun. Yeah. You're going to see some characters in it.
Oh, I'm sure.
You will see some characters in it, but it will just open your eyes to a whole other...
I wonder if Tav Falco inspired Jesse James Dupree from Jackal to take a chainsaw to the...
That is a good question.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
I didn't connect those two.
I'm a lumberjack, baby.
Side note, I saw Jackal at a very hippie festival up northern Maine. We actually played it. We opened for Jackal, but there was like 8 bands in between us.
Right, of course.
And so they headlined the night, and they're doing the Jackal thing. Yeah. And he pulls out the chainsaw. Wow. And then he goes to the side of the stage and starts sawing at one of the pillars of the fucking stage.
Wow.
He didn't cut. He wasn't trying to cut it down. He wasn't being crazy, but he wanted to show, dust flying.
It actually is a real chainsaw.
Yeah. So, well, man, this has been so cool. Pleasure. Getting all these stories.
Pleasure to be
We could
here.
do a whole other hour with this stuff. Trust me. But
goes on and on.
All right, we got Landslide. Play some Skynyrd. Trouble No More. Elevation Memphis. A Tina Turner tribute experience.
Can I add Hope Clayburn's Soul Scrimmage?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we forgot. I accidentally went over that. You released an album called "Y'all So Loud."
Yes.
Y'all so loud.
Y'all so loud.
Y'all so loud.
There's zero excuses for not seeing this guy live. He's all over the place.
Oh, so great to play and listen to and watch. Yes. Documentary, Meanwhile in Memphis, The Sound of Revolution, link in the description. Please follow Robert so you can tie into all these different things. Do you have a website?
No, I do not.
Okay.
But you can find me online, Facebook, Instagram, and Bandcamp. There's just type in Robert Allen Parker.
Yep. You got to put the Allen part in there. For sure.
ALLEN.
All right, before we say goodbye, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out. If you're still here, we appreciate that. And, of course, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, The Rhythm Section Pod. therhythmsectionpod.com will give you all the links and everything that you need.
Yeah, thanks to our band sponsors as always, and remember to join us for our exclusive Sunday replay series where you can see all the past guests. Comes around every Sunday, and you don't have to see the intro that we do. You just get the interview,
right.
So check it out.
All right, did you enjoy this interview with Mr. Robert Allen Parker? Do you enjoy me and Jeff's faces being illuminated with these lights above us? Do you like the studio that we get to sit in? Ladies and gentlemen, it takes money to operate this thing. So, if you could be so kind and help us out with some tips, call them donations.
We're out of Joshine noggin polish.
We need a refill.
We need to purchase more.
Venmo and Cash App, The Rhythm Section Pod. And then we're taking emails.
Yeah.
Email us the most silliest, dumbest questions you can think of at The Rhythm Section Pod 2022 at gmail.com.
Yep.
Robert Allen Parker.
Thanks for doing it.
You are the man. Been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Good seeing you again. Good to have you in. And looking forward to catching some more shows by you, sir.
Yep.
Jeff, man, what do you say?
This was fun. Get out and see a band.
Take care, y'all.